Laguna Seca, the classic road course. Of course, now known as the WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca for marketing reasons. It winds its way around the hillsides of Salinas County on the Monterey Peninsula and has been long considered as one of America's best. It's a relatively short but fast course, features considerable elevation changes, notably the iconic, so widely identifiable downhill plunging corkscrew turn, which is perhaps the most recognisable turns in not just motorsport in North America, but across the globe. Hello, I am Tim Cox, joined by Jonathan Grabowski in the virtual production booth, and Alex Andersen is with me in the commentary booth. But of course, it is time. Round 4 of the XSLR Championship here live from Laguna Seca, and we're bringing to the end the road section of the championship. And who's going to come out on top? Well, with 3 different winners from the previous 3 rounds, the unpredictability of this championship tells us that it really could go to any of our drivers. And we've got 2 new drivers to boot, and they're right vying the top of the standings in qualifying right now. There it is, one of them, Randall McGrew. The other one is Seb Boscher-Williams. But Alex, welcome along. This is just such a great circuit, especially in these GT4 cars.
Oh yeah, especially in these GT4 cars. I mean, this track usually me especially, is well known for its IndyCar races. I love watching Indy cars just fly around this track, but GT4 cars, I would say, is pretty underrated here. These cars, I tried them earlier on my own, and they are not really extremely quick around here, but still just a whole lot of fun to bring around this 2.24 mile long circuit. Just a lot of fun to be had around here. You got the Andretti hairpin as turn 1, then the corkscrew up top at the top of the hill, and then just a bunch of winding corners through the hillside. And just, I love this track personally, and I can't wait to see what these GT4 Aston Martins do around here.
Well, qualifying well underway, about halfway through right now. McGrew currently on a provisional pole position. Let's have a quick look at the championship standings, though, as we come to the end of the road section of the championship. And Josh Clogg leads the way on 91 points. Schrenkler, another of our race winners so far this season, he is second on 83, and then a bit of a gap emerging to Jay Cam, currently occupying most of the podium places within the championship, in third on 68 points. Mike Sorum, who's been Mr. Consistent so far this season, on 58 points, and Adam Thompson, 1 point behind Sorum, but he's been a bit erratic. Can he bring some consistency to his racing and climb through the standings as the championship progresses? Well, you get the feeling it may well happen. Kevin Irwin, he lies in 6th place on 39 points, with Chet Duranic just only 3 points behind him, and Kia only 1 point behind him on 35. Incredibly close, that battle for 6th already in the championship. And Baron Huron is far behind on 30 points. And then we've got McDaniel, Benavides, Di Piero and Howard to round out your standings so far this season. But getting into qualifying right now, and McGrew just coming around to complete his final lap. There is Boscher-Williams, the Brit, one of the newcomers to the championship. Most of his experience comes within GT and GT3, so a bit of a step down in terms of power and grip available for him. He's going to come across the line. Let's see what sort of time he's going to set. Is he going to improve? Well, he improves in time, but not in positions. 128 dead for him. Look, right at the top of the standings, as Schenkler moves up into 4th place, 2nd row of the grid. Good lap from him, 128.3. Current displaced down into 5th as those 2 traded places. But just having a bit of a look to complete laps, Schenkler's got another lap. Ham is coming around to complete his. Sorum, Benavides, Duranic all on completing out their laps as Duranic just crosses the line, and there we go, goes quicker again, but doesn't move a place. He remains in 10th. McDaniel and Irwin yet to set times. Irwin really struggling out there. He's had his 2 previous times deleted. As he comes across the line, is he going to be able to get a time on the board? And where is he going to come? Let's find out as he cuts the timing beam. Wait a second for it all to click in, but I think that's another time deleted. So that's going to be qualifying done and dusted for him. He will start from the back of the grid. Wow. such close times, aren't there, Alex, out there? And I think that just really tees us up nicely for some really close competitive racing, like we saw last time out at Donington Park.
Yeah, definitely. And Randall McGrew up there with a 1:27.666 there. Adam Thompson less than a tenth of a second behind him now, as we have Brennan Horn here coming around to complete a flying lap. Not sure if it's going to count towards his time, but still coming around the racetrack and just heading through. We have 5 separate sectors here for this track on our hands. And just Brennan Horn there, not sure what time he's going to be able to pull. He's got 3 yellow sectors, only 1 green sector. So he's currently sitting in P5 with a 1:28.8. So not sure what time he's going to be able to set as he comes through the final sector of this track here. And looks like, not sure what he's going to pull. He comes across the line. That looks like 2 minutes, not from...
It would have taken that, I mean, as you said, Alex, there, where he's had quite a few yellow sectors, it would have taken absolutely something truly biblical for Brendan Hearn to get up onto the time, you know, move up in the timing standings, as he was down on so many sectors, but he remained where he is, and I think that's qualifying done and dusted for him, as Kevin Irwin there. Yes, that's Kevin Irwin. He's taking a bit of a scenic route. That's had a bit of a connection with the wall at some stage and looking very bruised and bad, but he has completed his 3 laps within qualifying, so that is him done, Dustin. I think actually just looking through the standings, pretty much everyone done as we head into the last minute of qualifying. Of course, coming up for you, 27 laps is the race that we have got for you, and they're going to be 7 laps filled with drama, excitement, and the anticipation building. Don't go anywhere, because it's going to be another classic from this championship. But as well, we're on this quiet period, as I mentioned to one of our sponsors, the Czech Crohn's and Colitis Foundation. Of course, the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation is a non-profit, volunteer-fueled organisation dedicated to finding cures for Crohn's disease and ulcerative colitis, and improving the quality of life of children and adults affected by these diseases. You can find more about this amazing charity by heading across the Crohn's Colitis Foundation.org. Check them out, give them a bit of love and support. An absolutely amazing charity, and thanks to them for being one of the sponsors for this series. But as I mentioned, it's been feisty this season. Schenkler, Thompson, and Clark all stepping on the top step of the podium so far. Who's it going to be in the final section round of the road section of the championship before we head across into the dirt ovals next up? But let's find out as McGrew starts on the pole position. Adam Thompson joins him on the front row. Sebastian Bosch-Williams, one of the new drivers to the series for Backmarker Racing, he is joined on the second row by Robert Schrenkel of Dangerous Motorsport. Brendan Hearn of DTD E-Racing. He's got Jake Ham of Indigo Autosports for company on the third row of the grid. James Keir, he's got Mike Sorum with him on the fourth row, with Benavides and Jed Rennick. They're going to round out your top 10. Kevin Irwin and Everett McDaniel are in 11th, 12th, the sixth row of the grid, and your final row here in round 4. As we just wait for the drivers to grid up, and then we'll be away, as I said, for 27 laps of what's going to be excitement, drama, and I, for one, can't wait for this to be. And I don't know about yourself, Alex.
Oh yeah, definitely, and especially with this standing start. I mean, I don't get to see him very often being an American motorsports fan, so really excited for the standing start that's going to come out of this race, as we see Randall McGrew and Adam Thompson lining up the front row here. It's like we're still waiting for around 30 more seconds for the race to start up, and really, I'm looking towards our pole sitter up there in the 67 car, Randall McGrew, as it looks like we're about to get this race started, maybe, as the lights start to come on, top of your screen. 5 lights, and we're underway here for the XSLR here at Laguna Seca. Randall McGrew with an excellent start. Adam Thompson, not the best one. Here comes Rob Schwenkler here. Fantastic start from him down into turn number 1, the Andretti hairpin. He gets there. He gets to the inside of Randall McGrew through turns 1 and 2. Adam Thompson still back there in third. Didn't get the greatest start. Randall McGrew sets his right sides off track. That's going to allow Robert Schwenkler to take the lead out of turn number 1 here, as Randall McGrew falls back to second there. Adam Thompson tailing him as they head through turn 4, it looks like.
Start to head up the hill. The pace building, the momentum building as we head through 5, and it is close there in this battle for the lead. But what a start from Schenkler at 3 places. An absolutely blinding start as we head through 6 and the Rahal straight, and wow, clattering the curbing on the inside there. Thompson, he's got Bosch and Williams tucked up right behind him. The Brit looking to try and keep him honest as we descend through the corkscrew for the first time, dropping 8 stories across the length of it, and Bosch and Williams is in full attack mode against Thompson, just having a bit of a look up the inside. But Schenkler, with that early pace, is having to fend off McGrew, who is all over him like a rash. We come into turn 11 for the first time. Who's going to get the best exit? Because the most crucial part, Schenkler runs wide. That's not going to help him whatsoever. McGrew's through. Thompson's going to stream past, and here comes Bosch and Williams, and Schenkler's hard work is all undone at the end of a lap. Wow, Alex, what a start.
Yeah, that's incredible. Robert Schwenkler easily gets 2 first out of the Andretti hairpin. Lap 1 ends up not being able to lead the first lap after going wide out of the last corner. And that means Randall McGrew takes the lead, but Adam Thompson still right on his back bumper. You can see almost contact there as we head towards the gearbox view of the 67 car. Bosch and Williams there as well in third, ready to pounce on a mistake from either of these two, as Robert Schwenkler still back there. He's still back there. He's a bit further away from this pack of 3 cars, but still definitely has a shot at this. Bosch and Williams just needs to buy his time, but Adam Thompson is going to now need to go on the offensive as they head under the bridge and towards the Rahal straight. They're going to dip into the corkscrew at the end of this long straightaway between these 2 cars here. We'll have to see which of them get a better exit on. It's really all about the entry and exit on this corner. As you see, they dip on both inside curves, and looks like they were pretty even through that corner.
As we head down through the final corner to the lap, into 10. Everyone pretty much line astern for now, but there's definitely a breakaway group falling as that's Kier taking an excursion there. I think that's out of 9 there. And ooh, that's not sounding too good as he clatters across all the gravel, but battles up and down the field right now as we see. This is exactly what happened to Kier. So yeah, just catches the gravel on the outside, and once you're off it, Alex, that's it. It just pulls you off, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really just grabs the car and just throws it off the racing surface, which is just really unfortunate. But if you look here, Jake Ham, he's got Brennan Horn right behind him. These 2 cars, they go into that looks like turn 3 here under the bridge, and now back into turn 4. It looks like Brennan Horn's going to go to the inside and look for a move. The 85 of Jake Ham, he's going to have to drive off the outside, but still not going to be enough to stay in front of Brennan Horn. Brennan is just nose out in front as they head towards turn 5 here. And it looks like Jake Ham's going to maintain his position for now, but I wouldn't look away from this battle because that 45 car is definitely there.
Just lifting off a little bit, and Ham just understeering out wide. That's going to give Huron the place back, and back up in the 5th he goes. As we head into the corkscrew, Ham looking to try and nip it back up the inside under brake. He can't get the move done. That's going to compromise his entry though, and thus his exit speed. As the last time around, I'll tell you what, the man on the move right now is Bosch and Williams, the first driver into the 127s, only just 127.99. What's he going to do when they come across the line again? Our top 3, head and shoulders above the rest, really starting to drop Schwenkler. Big gap opening up. Nearly 2 seconds that he is back as they're all trading fastest lap. Thompson snatching it away from Bosch and Williams, who we ride on board with right now. And it is close. Under a second, covering our top 3. You could throw the perennial blanket over these guys right now. Just hooking it up into 3, trying to avoid those red sausage curves of death. Because if you clatter them, Alice, well, there you go. McGrew runs wide. This is Thompson's chance. Into 5. He's looking left. He's looking right. And there you go. Up the inside. And Bosch Williams just understeers out. He's unable to capitalize there. But that's the move done. Change for the lead. Yet again, Thompson takes it over McGrew. Oh, well, I get a feeling that we're going to see this happen quite a bit between our top 3. They're going to be trading places left, right, and centre.
Yeah, and it looked like in turn 5 there, it looked like Adam Thompson threw it in there a bit hard there, made a bit of door-to-door contact with Randall McCrews. He actually dips his two right sides off track there, as it looks like we have another mistake from Jake Ham there. Looks like Mike Sorum has gotten around him as well, and now he has Kevin Irwin on his back bumper. He was slow up the Rahal straight. Not sure what could have happened to him. We'll see if we can get a replay on that, but still, looks like here's the replay. Looks like, ooh, just sends it too wide again through turn 6 there, and just up the Rahal straight. Just has to bring it lightly back onto the asphalt to not spin that car around. And it looks like he's maintained 7th position as Mike Sorum has gotten around him as a result of that. So Jake Ham, he has speeds, just unfortunate mistakes that have just plagued his day. Is still 3 cars under a blanket for the lead of this race.
There they are. The gap is shrinking. It's down to 9/10 of a second as Hurren's made his way past Schenkler. I think Schenkler's just had a bit of an excursion off track, and that's what's caused that to happen. As here we go. We'll find out now, and well, that's just coming out of the Andretti hairpin. Catches a bit of the dirt on the exit with the rear right, and that's just sent him off. Luckily, he's managed to keep it out of the wall, but he's lost a lot of time and lost the place to Hurren. And after that amazing start off the start line from Schenkler, where he made up 3 places, it's now all starting to come apart for him as it just gets closer and closer between these 3. McGrew having a look against Thompson and not being able to get it done, but this is where it gets tricky for him, because as much as he wants to go on the attack, he needs to be careful, because Boscher Williams is looming large right now in his rear view mirrors, filling them to the max and almost pushing him and squeezing him through turn 11 as we head up the hill, across the start finish line, around turn 1, which is this kink here. So it's classified as several because the motorbikes that come here that actually have to physically take it as a corner, as a new fastest lap there from Bosch Williams, and you see McGrew just slow it up on the apex to try and kill off some momentum, but Bosch Williams says, no, I'm not having any of that. I've seen that time and time again, and he's forced his car to the inside, but McGrew carrying just that bit more speed around the exit, out of 4 and 3. And manages to hold off, but all while this is going on, Thompson is checking out at the front here, Alex.
Yeah, you can definitely calm down a little when the 2 cars in 2nd and 3rd are battling with each other for position, but it looked like he went off track a little bit there. He didn't lose much time from it, but still, you can just see how much these guys are on edge racing each other's. Both Boscher Williams and Thompson go off track there. Thompson does it again up the Rahal straight. Now Boscher Williams and McGrew going to go side by side into the corkscrew, and it looks like McGrew relents the position in hopes to catch back up to Adam Thompson there, leading this race. So it looks like Randall tries to get to the inside, can't get much of it done there through turn 9 and now into turn 10. Bit of a dip here, and now Boscher Williams, if he can know that he doesn't have to worry about McGrew again, now he needs to turn his attention towards catching this 244 car, who's pulled out a 1.2 second gap in the time that those 2 cars have been battling. So if they're not careful, Adam Thompson could very well just scoot away slightly out of reach. And even with that battle for 2nd right now, there's still a battle back in the pack to be had for 6th right here. This is Mike Sorum, Jake Ham, and Kevin Irwin. It's actually Kevin Irwin goes around back there through turn, that looks like turn 10 there. These 2 head through turn 11, but Kevin Irwin is going to fall back to 9th as James Keir is going to get around him. It's just very unfortunate for that number 7 cars. We'll see if we can get a replay on that. My guess is he just threw it too aggressively into turn number 10 there, but I'm honestly not quite sure. As here we have a replay, and it looks like he just got loose to the center of the corner, and just that car went right around on him. Very unfortunate for that number 17. Oh, and actually, there's another car stopped back there in the background. Sorry to interrupt you. Yeah, that was Mike Sorum.
Yeah, he's had a bit of an issue coming out of the Andretti hairpin. We're going to see something similar to what happened to Schenkler potentially. Let's find out. Well, it's already happened there. So yeah, he's just lost the rear coming through the Andretti hairpin, and he's maybe carried a little bit too much momentum through there and running out of grip. Well, here we go. This will definitely show us. As yeah, ran it in deep, got on the power, and oh no, there's contact there. That's from Ham, and that's what sent him away. And, well, in the end, saw him just run it in too deep, and that's what caused it initially.
And it looks like, I think that was Jake Ham who hit him. Just not able to predict that the 69 car was going to come back across the track, and just unfortunate for both of those cars. But Bosher Williams is not out of this race just yet. He's closed that gap down around 0.4 of a second since that last lap. So Bosher Williams definitely has the pace to keep up with Thompson. As we pull up the lap times, you can see looks like Bosher Williams lost a bit of time to Adam on lap 5, but through 6 and 7, he's made up over 0.6 of a second to catch up to the lead car. So Bosher Williams, he might be down, but he's definitely not out of this race as he puts both of his right sides off track through turn 5, which just really again shows you how much these guys, they have to push these cars through this tight road course.
I had the absolute pleasure of commentating on a race which involved Sam Bosher Williams in an endurance race. It was in the BMW GT3 around here at the start of the month, and he was absolutely electric, but getting a bit sloppy in the GT4s as he's putting pedal to the metal, trying to hunt down Thompson. Our lead is shrinking, but you can see just how hard the Brit is pushing right now as he chases down the American. As bows up and down the field. This is all over 4th place, and Schenkler has got back ahead of Huron, and just a little bit slow there into 11, and that's going to allow Schenkler just to ease out that gap, and there you go, it's extending out. He's already managed to pull a 10th with him out of 11, and that's going to grow probably even to 2 tenths by the time they reach the braking into turn 2 officially. A lot of people classify it as turn 1, but well, curse the commentator looms large. With Schenkler just runs in too deep, trying to be the last of the late breakers and just missed out a little bit. But I tell you what, McGrew's just starting to fall off a little bit right now, isn't he, Alex? The gap's starting to open up between himself and Seb Bosher Williams.
Yes, Bosher Williams has been catching up to Adam Thompson here little by little. Randall McGrew he's fallen off a little bit on all previous 5 laps. He has lost out a little bit of time to the cars ahead of him, so he's definitely falling off his pace a little bit, and he needs to pick it back up if he wants to put himself back in contention for 2nd place or even to win this race here. And just really falling a second back there is also Bosher Williams there. He had the gap closed to around 0.7 of a second, and he just lost it all there. So I'm not sure what could have happened there as they head through turn 11 again to start lap 10 of this race. But Bosher Williams just needs to get his head in the game, as you mentioned, him in the GT3 cars, and then having to come into these slower, bulkier GT4 cars and having to push it a lot more. You really just he's gotta clean up his driving, make no mistakes, and make some fast laps here if he wants to catch up to Adam Thompson.
He's just been dipping the wheels onto the gravel and the dust on the exit of the corners a couple of times. Did up on as he came out onto the Rahal straight, and also when he came out of a 9 as well. That's just testament to just how hard he is pushing right now as Thompson pulls out another 10th on the Brit. You can visibly start to see how that gap is growing. We're on lap 10 out of 27 here in Laguna Seca. Thompson leads from Bosher Williams, McGrew. That last podium position, then Schenkler, Huron, Ham, and Kia. Last driver on the lead lap. Then it's apologies. Sorum is also on the lead lap as well. Erwin McDaniel in 10th. Those last two, both up 2 places. Then Benavides and Chetorenik will round out your field. Those who obviously involved in the earlier instance, they've dropped about a couple of laps down on our leaders, but still up for grabs, and they'll still be pushing hard to pick up as many points as once again Bosher Williams kicks up the dust, pushing hard. Well, it's not helping him with this efforts to try and capture up Adam Thompson ahead of him. But I tell you what, despite these slight mistakes from Bosher Williams, well, I was about to say, McGrew isn't really catching, but then he has started to slightly as they come up to lap traffic here. That's Everett McDaniel there, and it's going to be interesting to see how drivers handle this one, Alex.
Yeah, and it looks like... Ooh, actually, it looks like there might have been a bit of contact between Bosher Williams and Everett McDaniel as McDaniel goes off track there. I was wondering from the onboard view of Randall McGrew if there may have been a bit of contact between those 2 cars, but that allowed Adam Thompson, who got by the lap car very quickly and efficiently. Adam's been able to open that gap up quite a bit more, and it looks like the smooth driving style has been working out for him. And actually, that also allowed Randall McGrew to catch back up to Bosher Williams. So this battle for second might heat up once again, and it's just going to really hurt the chances of these two guys catching back up to Adam Thompson here as they head back towards the corkscrew up the Ray Hall Straight. Looks like breaking into the corkscrew. Looks like no time gained, no time lost for each driver, as Sebastian Bosher Williams still maintains the 1.4 second gap, and Randall McGrew about just under 2 seconds behind our leader, around 0.4 of a second behind Bosher Williams here. So it looks like these guys, they're all very even, and it looks like that gap that Adam Thompson created is really helping him here.
Yes, indeed. I tell you what, it's ebbing and flowing. The gaps right now was near identical lap times being traded by our top three right now. Closest battles you've got on the track. I'll tell you about Aaron. He's locked in a bit of battle right now with Jake Ham as well. And sorry, Schenkler, apologies. He's catching up onto the rear of. It's only about a second. Oh, wow, a big switch from her and there into the brakies. They managed to collect it. And in doing so as well, it's amazingly, I managed to actually catch up with Schenkler through the corner. I mean, it looked like it was all going to end in disaster, but it couldn't have gone any better in some ways.
And it looks like Robert Schenkler's that car up there and Brennan Horton closed that gap up a bit, but excuse me, still around 0.4 of a second, 0.5 of a second back now. And honestly, for the battle between these two, I want to say that Brennan Horton just has a bit more pace. I mean, we saw how fast Robert Schwenkler was from that movie Made on lap 1 to go from third straight to the lead here after quickly losing it at the end of the first lap. But Brennan Horton has excellent pace here, and I would say if he can just get it together for a few solid laps, he might be able to catch up to Robert Schwenkler. But Bosher Williams has actually, again, knocked down the gap he had to Adam Thompson by a few tenths of a second here. So as we can take a look at the lap times, looks like Bosher Williams knocked just under 0.3 out of that gap. So he's done a really excellent job of trying to close that gap, and if he can just keep it consistent, he might be able to do it, as it looks like Robert Schwenkler has let Brennan Horton by here for 4th place. Maybe Rob realizes he has more pace, and he's going to let Brennan Horton see if he can close that gap a little bit to the 3 cars in front of him and maybe put himself on the podium at the end of the day.
Gonna have his work cut out. So, I mean, just looking at his best lap time for her, it's a good second slower than what our top three's best lap time are. And you know, last time around, those last lap times as well are near identical to, you know, a second down there. So he needs to pull something really big out the bag to, well, not just maintain the gap, but let alone catch them, because it's 17 seconds. We're at the halfway stage of the race. That is a real tall order in the sprint race format to try and close up that gap. But all it takes is one big mistake from any of our top 3 drivers, and you could see him elevated onto the podium as they are getting closer and closer. Once again, McGrew catching up to Bosher Williams. Bosher Williams catching up to Thompson. As you see, the different lines being opted for out of turn 11 there by our different drivers, and I do have to wonder, Alex, as Thompson pushed the car a bit too hard overall early on and taking too much out of those tyres, they may be overheating a bit, and therefore he's losing grip while he's trying to maintain the same pace.
That could be the case here, which would cause Adam Thompson to fall off his time a little bit. His last lap, I believe, was a 1:28.1. So with Bosher Williams and McGrew easily running under 1:27 seconds, excuse me, 1 minute and 27 seconds, I do believe that you might be right there. Adam Thompson might have overcooked his tires a little bit, and now he's trying to cool them down, because Bosher Williams is really closing that gap now. Is actually Randall McGrew set the fastest lap last time by with a 1:27.4. So those cars in second and third is actually Adam Thompson has way overcooked it through turn 6, I believe that was, and that sent him onto the gravel. He keeps it on the track with minimal time loss, but Bosher Williams is still, he has more pace at the current moment, so I would want to keep an eye on this battle for the lead here, and even second as well, because Bosher Williams and Randall McGrew, they really have the pace to try and keep up and maybe get around Adam Thompson for the lead of this race here on lap 14, just past the halfway point.
Let's see. Sun is starting to set here as, oh, Brett and her in there. Missing the inside, he's going to get slowed down from that. Yeah, there you go, Schenkler. Just heading past, and even then, just having a few issues coming out of 9. And it's getting a little bit sloppy from Horan right now, but picturesque settings of the sun coming down in the background, reminiscent to what we saw last time, well, this time last season at Silverstone. Of course, we'll ever live in the memory of that one. Of course, these cars have headlights, whereas the Lotus 79s we raced in the road section last season didn't have headlights. And well, series organizer Adam Thompson was trying to make it as realistic as possible as well. Just didn't quite realise what time it sets. The time the sun set in the winter in the UK, and that made for an entertaining race ending, to say the least, in the pitch black cars with no headlights. But we're not going to have any of that issues here today, and right now Thompson is coming under a whole world of pressure because Boscher Williams has closed that gap to within 2 tenths. He moves left, he moves right, he is filling the mirrors of Thompson right now in his endeavours to find a way past, but he needs to be careful because McGrew is ready to pick up any scraps. He's stalking him like a lion stalks his prey right now, as Horan's made his way back past Schenkler. Those two trade pits as McGrew's into the pits. He's bailed early, trying to get in some fresh air. As drivers do have to take a pit stop during this race, and he's left Thompson and Boscher Williams to go off into the distance to trade places. But what can they do?
Yeah, actually, it looks like that last time by, Adam Thompson had a big moment there in turn 4, where he got way off track, and that allowed Boscher Williams to really close the gap here. So Sebastian Boscher Williams, if he wants to get around Adam Thompson here, he needs to just keep it consistent, run some clean laps and some clean corners, and that's what he's doing as he's gotten the gap to under a 10th of a second. As you see on that rear bumper camera, you can see almost contact between these two front-running cars as Boscher Williams, he almost tried to go for it. He looked at the inside, now he looks on the outside, looks for a better exit. That's going to cause him some time loss there, that hesitation as he tried to bring it back to the outside, got an inferior corner to what Thompson was able to do. As they catch up to some lap traffic here, not sure who that is. I think it might be Jay Cam in the 85 car. It looks like it is. They head towards the corkscrew. Ooh, that was really close between the 72 and the 85, and that's going to put the 85 car, I believe that was, a lap down here, which is, that was extremely close heading towards the corkscrew as Boscher Williams almost turns himself off the front bumper of the lap car, and there goes Adam Thompson into the pit lane here. So now it becomes a race off of pit strategy and how fast you can be in the pit lane. Adam Thompson is well on the pit limiter, 35 miles an hour through here. You just got to be clean into your stall, clean on exit, clean on entry. And now I would like to take a second to mention the pit lane exit, because they don't have the cars blending straight onto the racetrack. They have them go through their own section of the Andretti hairpin, which is a lot narrower. You can see it in the background a bit there of Boscher Williams' car, which really could create some problems if you overcook the corner going into the pit lane exit, which could really screw up your races. McGrew has gotten...
He's got the jump on Thompson.
Right,
he's got the jump on Thompson, because there you go, there's Thompson. He's not even made down to the Andretti hairpin, and there you go, you can see ahead of him. There goes McGrew. He's had a brilliant outlap to get the jump on Thompson. And I tell you what, Alex, he's come out 2 seconds ahead of his rival who was fighting with for the lead. And before they came in, he was about 1.5 seconds behind Thompson. So that is a big chunk of time to make up. What can Boscher Williams do? You can bet your bottom dollar that he's going to be absolutely pushing it to the limit here on this, what I'm going to guess is going to be his in-lap, as we're going to see, there you go, he's into the pit. So where is he going to come out? Only himself and Schenkler that have yet to take to the pit lane is onto the pit limiter. He comes looking for his pit box, and McGrew, he is just about coming up towards the corkscrew right now, but let's not forget that Boscher Williams has got to... No, he's not even there. Trying to work out where he is. Actually, he's much further around, as that's into turn 10, isn't it? There you go. And I think McGrew might have got the jump on the pair of them here through that strategy, because Bosch Williams is only just heading out of his pit box. There he goes. This is going to be a race. So that pit exit that you mentioned about, here comes McGrew. He's come storming past. But Bosch Williams has less distance to travel, as you mentioned though, Alex. It is a much, much tighter line, but I think he's going to have done it here.
Yeah, but side by side
he
on
hasn't
pit exit there. Bosch Williams
close.
is still right there, but Randall McGrew did get the drop on both Bosch Williams and Thompson here. So Randall McGrew, the new leader of this race after the pit stops. But the question is, can Bosch Williams perhaps catch up to him and get back around him for the lead? This entire race, Bosch Williams has had more pace. So looks like McGrew, he might have to increase his pace here from what he's comfortable with if he wants to try and lead this race. You can see the pit stop times on the left there. Randall McGrew with a 13.5 second stop. Bosch Williams just under a second behind that. Is actually, he goes to the outside now of the corkscrew here. Looks like he's not going to be able to get it, but that might compromise McGrew's exit. Bosch Williams still maintains second place. McGrew holds onto the lead. So you can see just Adam Thompson lost a whole 2 seconds off his pit stop, which, if he can't close the gap, could really affect him, as it looks like Bosch Williams also made a mistake just then, as he lost a bit of time to McGrew in front.
He's lost a little bit of time, hasn't he, there, Alex? And, well, we've still got everything played for. Still 8 laps remaining, 19 out of 27 currently. And the lights are starting to become more and more apparent on the cars. It gets darker into twilight in the Monterey Peninsula. Still very much everything to play for. Don't discredit Thompson. We've seen a lot of raw pace from him early on in this championship. He really needs to dig deep and find that pace for him. The two, McGrew and Bosch Williams, are both coming up onto a little bit of traffic. That is Sorum and Irwin ahead of them. They're probably going to catch them roughly about a lap's time. What part of the story are they going to play in this battle for the lead, for the victory here in round 4 of the XSLR Championship? Wow. Not long to find out, as McGrew pulling out another couple of attempts over Bosch Williams as we head into the corkscrew. It's all about who can get the best possible exit, and you have to wonder, when Bosch Williams pulled alongside McGrew this time last lap, was that a missed opportunity? As wow, that's not going to help things, because I tell you what, ahead of them, Sorum and Irwin are swapping places and having a bit of a ding-dong between the pair of them. Oh, there's one of them. Why was that Irwin, I think? Yes, it was. So there's Benavidez just heading through the final corner, and well, it's allowed McGrew just to extend that gap over Bosch and Williams as they came onto the ball. We nearly ended up in the back of Sorum, and in doing so, ended up having to throw out the anchor, take to the gravel, and find a long way around, and that's what's cost him all of that time. But it is going to make things a little bit easier, but needs to come up to the traffic because they've only got to clear one car.
And judging off the interval gap, both Bosch Williams and Thompson have lost time to McGrew, who is leading this race. So it makes me wonder if maybe McGrew is saving his tires towards the first half of this race. He was the pole sitter, so we know he was good pace. But I have to wonder, do you think that maybe Randall McGrew, he was saving his tires towards the first half of this race, waited for the pit stops, and now he's really pushing that car to try and stay ahead of Bosch Williams and Adam Thompson? That could have been his strategy all along, not to make the pass on the racetrack, but to make the passes off of pit road. It worked out for him, and now we have to see if he can hold on to it. But what I'm curious about is, do we think that Randall McGrew was just trying to save his tires, and that was why his pace was a bit inferior to the 72 and 244 cars in the first half of this race leading up to the pit stops?
I'll tell you what, McGrew couldn't have caught Sorum and a much better opportunity on the start-finish race. Going to get lots of slipstream from them as they head up across the rise and down into the Andretti hairpin, or maybe not, because he hasn't managed to clear Sorum and he's being held up by him, and this is going to back him right up into Bosch and Williams. as they come out of 2, head into 3, and he still has not made his way past as he's moving left, he's moving right, he pulls alongside the 69 of Sorum, and that is finally going to allow him past, but he's lost nearly half a second to Boscher Williams, who's caught Sorum in the ideal time to get the move done and get ahead, and that's closed up the gap between these two. Once again, it's ebbing and flowing. We have got 6 laps left remaining here at Laguna, and it is game on. And what can Thompson do? Can he gain a little bit of time in the traffic? Well, that remains to be seen. He is dropping off a little bit. 1.8 seconds the gap between himself and second place Boscher Williams, but with 6 laps left remaining, McGrew leads for Boscher Williams, Thompson third, Herring fourth. There's Ham, Kia, Sorum, Irwin, Daniel, Benavides, Shane. Wow, Tomlinson just carrying so much more momentum straight in the back there of Sorum. And I think that's going to be Thompson's aspirations of trying to finish on the top set of the podium done and dusted, because that gap's now grown to nearly 4 seconds.
That's pretty insurmountable at this stage of the race with 6 laps remaining. So looks like that's going to be Adam Thompson's day in the bin. But looks like he might be able to maintain a podium spot if he can just keep that car clean there. But the real game is a game of cat and mouse between Randall McGrew and Sebastian Boscher Williams. After that pit stops, we know that McGrew, he has increased his pace and he has passed both cars on pit road and pit road only. So we know that Randall McGrew has increased his pace, but the question is Boscher Williams able to increase his pace to catch up? Judging off the lap times on lap 21, it looks like Boscher Williams can still up his pace to try and catch up to Randall McGrew. He knocked out about 0.3 of a second to that gap that last lap. So looks like Boscher Williams, he's not out of this race just yet. The cat is trying to catch up to the mouse here as they head to the corkscrew, and Boscher Williams, he has the pace, he has the car, and even if he can get to the back bumper of Randall McGrew, where do you think he can make the move to try and get around him? Because this road course here in Monterey, California, it's a pretty narrow one in Laguna Seca, so you got to just wonder, how hard is the pass going to be, as it looks like there might be some lap traffic. James Geary goes off track to get out of the way. That could have messed up Randall McGrew's exit. It looks like it will not here, as Boscher Williams is falling back just a tad. It looks like he starts gaining towards the end of the front straightaway. So looks like just Boscher Williams, he has to try and get an optimal last 5 laps here to try and close the gap to Randall McGrew.
As we're into the closing stages of the race in round 4 of the championships. Mentioned to one of the sponsors to the race, Nexus Fabrication, specialise in metal fabrication and manufacturing for commercial, residential and custom projects, as well as signage, furniture and metal repair work. You can find more about them by heading across to nexusfab.com. Well, we've got 4 laps left remaining here in round 4 of the championship. The victory still up for grabs. Your closest battle on track at the moment. It's been a three-way fight pretty much for most of the race between McGrew, Boscher Williams and Thompson, but it was all about the strategy in the pit stops from McGrew. Sort of leapfrog from third to first. And right now, it seems to be the absolutely inspired move as Boscher Williams pushing hard and doesn't seem to quite have an answer. Thompson falling back behind these two. However, into the final corner, across the line. Alex, who's your money on? I think surely it's going to be McGrew right now.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. I said it at the start of this race. The pole sitter, Randall McGrew, he's had the pace all day long, and with only 4 laps remaining here, I'm not sure if Boscher Williams is going to have the time. He's going to need to make up around 0.2 of a second a lap in order to try and catch up to Randall McGrew here. So, well, that might not seem like a tall order, and all it takes is one mistake from Randall McGrew. It also takes just one mistake from Boscher Williams there in second to just completely end his race. So Bosher Williams, he has to push his car here to try and catch up to McGrew, but if he overcooks one corner, it's going to end his day. So if McGrew could hold it consistent, I think he could definitely win this race, and that's where I'm putting my money on that 67 car. He's had the pace all day. He got the pole for this race, and I think that it's going to this 67 car tonight.
Wow, we haven't got long to find out, indeed, as Bosher Williams is inch by inch starting to reel in McGrew in these closing stages. So we get to find out who's going to come out on top between the two drivers, as that's not going to help Bosher Williams running wide there, out of 10. So we head through 11, we're going to head out onto lap 25, and he knows that time is running out the brakes. And as the late great Murray Walker, the iconic British commentator, said once, catching people is one thing, but passing them is something completely different altogether. And it's like you're saying earlier, Alex, you know, as much as Bosher Williams, you know, if he can take a couple of attempts each lap out of McGrew, he's still got to try and find his way past him. And with time running fast down, it's getting harder and harder, and the pressure is swaying towards being more on Bosher Williams than McGrew in these latter stages of the race. They are coming up on a bit of traffic, and that is Chetarenic ahead of them. They're going to come up onto the back of, and quite shortly as well. And then there's another car ahead of them. I think that's Everett McDaniel in the 54. As I said earlier, what part of the story is the lap traffic going to play? Well, we're going to find out very shortly, because these two are catching him at an absolute rapid rate of knots. As Thompson's lost more time, he's falling back even further. I think he's conceded that he's going to have to settle for third place here at Laguna. As we come around turn 10, the race down to 11. I'll tell you what, there's 3 cars there. I think I couldn't quite catch who the third one is, but Chetarenic, the first one, and they're not going to catch him at the most ideal time. That's going to be when around the turn 2 and 3 section of the track, isn't it, Alex, where we saw McGrew lose a lot of time behind Sorum a few laps ago.
Yeah, and that really isn't going to help McGrew at all when he catches him in this section of racetrack. The best spot to catch him would probably be out of a corner down one of the 2 straights on this track, and if he catches him at an inopportune moment, looks like Randall has had to run wide there, as looks like Bosher Williams is able to just quickly get around the outside between the short chute between turns 3 and 4, which has really hurt the gap that Randall McGrew had. And keep in mind, there's still another lap car up there, and maybe even a third one as they head towards turn 6, and it looks like the 54 completely stops on the side of the track. Everett McDaniel pulls straight out of the way as to not interfere with this race for the lead here. The gap just 0.4 of a second. That lap car definitely helped Bosher Williams' case under 0.4 of a second. Now as they head towards the corkscrew, it's all a game of can Bosher Williams make his way around. You said it earlier, catching is one thing, but passing is another. But Bosher Williams is definitely there in the closing stages of this race as they head through turns 10 and 11. You can see another lap car up there in the distance, so that could also play a role in the finishing of this race. But these 2 cars, they're going to head through turn 11 and back onto the front straightaway to take the white flag here at Laguna Seca. Now it's the money lap.
There we go, the white flag flies, 1 lap left to go, and you see the flash of the lights there from McGrew as they race down towards the inside, and there goes Bosher Williams. This is the move for the lead as he squeezes McGrew wide there, and he's got the move done. That is the money pass, as you mentioned there, Alex, and Bosher Williams for the first time is out in front, but there's that traffic. There's Sorum, the flash of the lights from Bosher Williams, just so they know that they are coming for them to move right out of the way. Sorum bails out. The next car is the 88. I think it's James Keir there, who they're going to come up onto the back of. No, apologies, that's Jake Ham, isn't it? As he moves to the inside to allow these 2 through. 3 tenths is all that separates the pair of them as they head out onto the Rahal straight, and Bosher Williams just pulls another 10th on McGrew as they race up towards the corkscrew. Who's going to get it right? Who's going to come out on top as they both line it up They descend down 10 stories, and McGrew's just lost it. He's got a bit squirrely on the exit. That's going to compromise him out of 9. Well, you say that, but he's managed to catch up on Bosch Williams. He's used it just to turn the car in, and this is going to be a fight to the line as they come into 11. Here comes McGrew up the inside of Bosch Williams. Bosch Williams going to carry all the momentum right around the outside. This is going to be a drag race right to the line. Who's going to come out on top? It's McGrew just in front. Bosch Williams is surging for the line, and he's going to take it by 5,000ths of a second.
5,000ths of a second out of turn 11. What an attempt from Randall McGrew through turn 11, but at the end of the day, the last lap pass leads Bosch Williams to win the race here at Laguna Seca. 27 long laps, and the finishing result is all winding down to the final straightaway. An absolutely fantastic race from everybody involved, and just absolutely amazing. Just the pristine, like all you could wish for in racing product. You can see McGrew, he tries to go to the inside there, and it looks like just the inside doesn't get him the best run off the corner. They door each other a bit down the front straightaway, and down to the line, Bosch Williams gets it by 5,000ths of a second over Randall McGrew. What a race.
That's a YouTube streamer, the infamous YouTube streamer, Jimmy Broadbent, said the cars aren't real, but the racing is. And if that sentiment was ever alive and well, wow, you have just witnessed it as the drivers all head up towards the corkscrew. The nudging is beginning. They're all going to have a bit of a coming together, bit of a pile-on with one another. As there are your classified race results. Bosch Williams claiming it by, wow, 8,000ths of a second. That's the official time in the end. McGrew has to settle for second. How gutting. Thompson finishes in third despite leading early on as well, as Horan finishes fourth, and last driver on the lead lap. Ham in fifth, Kia sixth, Schenkler in the end really disappointing for him in seventh, Irwin eighth, McDaniel ninth, and 2 laps down with Benavides running out your top 10. Then it was Sorum and Chet Duranek to round out your field. But it's all happening as the frustration comes out, and everyone has a bit of fun in the championship.
I just saw somebody floor it in the background straight on the runoff area, floors it straight into the corkscrew. It's just fantastic race from everybody involved. Look at that, upside down on top of the tire barriers. Both front tires just having a party up there. Scott Benavides in the 82 car. That's his point of view at the end of this race after flooring it into the corkscrew. Chet Duranek is right. His right front is completely destroyed. J-Cam, I wouldn't be surprised if that car doesn't run anymore, but absolutely fantastic from everybody. And let's see if we can get to some interviews for the winning drivers. It's just another fantastic race for XSLR here at Laguna Seca, and I think J-Cam's right rear is broken, but just fantastic race from these guys. But we now have Sebastian Bosch Williams here up in the booth, and the last lap pass and an attempt from Randall McGrew in turn 11 to try and win the race ends up with you getting the better of him by just 5,000ths of a second. Fantastic job.
Thank you. I can't believe it. That was amazing. Yeah, to be honest, I'm not sure. I haven't watched it back yet. I feel like I might have been a little bit mean to Randall on the last lap, just diving to the inside a little bit too late. I was mostly out of control, but that was an amazing race. I just enjoyed every single second of it. That was, oh man, I'm absolutely buzzing after that.
It was even better to watch up here in the booth, man. And we saw, you said you were completely out of control going into turn 1 trying to make that move, but what were you feeling when Randall McGrew, he tried to get the better of you on the final corner? He got his nose out in front, but you were able to just pull ahead of him with the run off the outside line there. And just, what were you feeling when you see I can come into the last corner, you can just about win the race, and all of a sudden Randall McGrew, he dive bombs you to the inside. How was that in the car?
Nerve-wracking. I made a mistake just coming out of the corkscrew on the next corner. I can't quite remember the corner number, so I was really aware that he was going to try and make a move, and fair play to him. And all I was thinking about is just make sure I get a good exit, try and sort of make sure I didn't hit the TC as much as I've been doing on other laps, and just managed and just get just enough of a run. But that was so close. I would have been happy, you know, either way. I think Randall probably would have liked it more if he was on the top step, but I had so much fun. My first ever race in the GT4s, and I don't think it could have gone much better.
Yeah, you started P3. You were P4 on the first lap after the first hairpin, and just, what were you feeling? I mean, you saw Robert Schwenkler goes in there, takes the lead on the first lap, and ends up losing it before the first lap is completed. And just, how was it having to drive through the field, getting around to Adam Thompson, and then when Randall McGrew gets in front of you on pit road, you had to drive back around him? Just how was it out there?
It's really difficult. As I said, it's the first time I've really driven this car, so it felt like every lap I was changing up my driving style. I think I've managed to figure out how to go quicker in these GT4 cars, very different from the cars that I normally drive. So I was trying to sort of learn the car as I was going. Yeah, and I mean, that start that P4 made, I need to learn how to do that. That was incredible. I, you know, saw him go through and I was like, wow, that's how you make a start in one of these cars. And yeah, then, you know, the pit stop, I just decided that I'd go as long as I would. I saw that Adam came in on the lap previously, so I'm like, I'm going to do another lap and see. But Randall, he had a really good strategy of coming into the pits earlier, so I'll keep that in mind for next time. But honestly, I thought in the last few laps that I was just going to have second place, and, you know, I'll take it. But I think traffic decided to play out a little bit differently. But you got to be in it to win it. But yeah, congratulations to everybody. That was just so enjoyable.
And for the next 4 races here, we move into a stretch of 4 races in the 410 wing dirt sprint car. So if you're going to be racing, which next week, by the way, is Bristol in those cars, how are you feeling going into those 4 races? I mean, it's very different from what you had to do today to win this race. So how confident are you heading into that stretch of 4 races?
Not confident at all. I've never driven those cars. I don't think I even own the car yet. So lots of practice, I think, going to be taking place this week. Certainly, we'll be back if I can, because, you know, the racing is just great, and, you know, it gives me a chance to brush up on my dirt oval skills. But I don't think I'll be quite as high as I was today.
Yeah, and anybody you want to thank for being able to stand on the top step of the podium at the end of 27 long laps here at Laguna Seca?
Just, you know, thank you to Adam Thompson for putting on the league, everybody that organises the league. Thank you to you guys for broadcasting it, and thanks to Tim as well. He was the one that got me or showed me that this was the league. And yeah, just thanks to everybody. Thanks for tuning in, and of course thanks to my parents who put up with me driving at 2 a.m. in the morning.
All right, well, that's all I got for you, unless Tim has something for you.
No, hey, congratulations, Seb. You know, us Brits, we've got to stick together here, and, you know, with all these Americans around us, and you did us proud there, mate. But yeah, I feel like you said, this is where we'll get our comeuppance when it comes to the dirt oval, where these guys, some of these guys are electric. But congratulations, mate. Well done, and we'll hopefully speak to you again soon.
Hopefully, yeah. Thank you very much.
Let's have a chat with another of our drivers. Well, second place, Randall McGrew. Well, say second place, only just 8 thousandths of a second at the line. You don't get much closer than that, really, do you, Randall?
No, I'm sending my team over to measure his splitter. I don't know if that was a regulation splitter there or not. It was a pretty close race. Yeah, you can't really script those. A little bit unlucky with traffic during the last couple of laps, and Sebastian was able to get on me and get around me in turn 1. And I knew I was faster than him in the last section of the track, so I tried to set him to move, and I had him going down the straight, but he just got a better run off the corner.
You say about scripting, was it always the plan to pit early, or did you just adjust things on the fly? You know, if the lead group of 3 between yourself, Bosch, Williams and Thompson, it was, you know, you went early. Was that just to try and get yourself in some free air and set some almost quali-style laps on your out laps, or was it always in the plan for you to pit that bit earlier?
I had 3 plans for pitting going into the race. That was plan C. Once Sebastian started catching up to Adam, I figured it was a good time to dip in and, like you said, get some free air, maybe hope that those 2 start fighting as they come to their pit.
Of course, we head off next, as we were just mentioning to Seb, about the dirt oval section of the championship. How do you think you'll fare within that?
Oh, there's no telling. I don't have very much experience with that. I'll just have to let my Southern Indiana heritage kind of do its thing. Use the force as it were.
Definitely. And Randall, before we let you go, anyone you want to give a shout out to at all?
I'd like to give a shout out to all the XSLR guys. This is a great league, and I'm really looking forward to see what happens in the other disciplines.
Well, we'll look forward to seeing how you get on this random group. Picked up second place here today. It's in Laguna Seca. But time just for one more interview. Alex, I believe you're standing by with Adam Thompson.
Yeah, Thompson P3. At the end of the day, you led most of the race, and pit stops bring you out second. What was it like out there driving these cars? It looked really tough from up here.
Yeah, well, first of all, I want to know what exactly they said about me, because before I got drug in here, Randall was like, "Oh, you're up, Adam." So, did Randall say anything bad about me?
Huh?
Okay, good. So, I don't know. Sometimes you don't know about those Marines, but no, it was a good race for me. You know, the pit stops definitely got me a little bit, but I don't know where exactly I lost the time. Seb and I were just talking about it, but when I came out behind him, I tried to push a little bit to stay with him, and I'm sure you guys remember my Sandown race where I would push and then I'd wreck and then I'd push and then I'd wreck, and I was like, I am not doing that again. So I just decided to back it off. I'm in here for the points. Josh Clogg wasn't racing this weekend, so it was a good points haul for me.
Yeah, and you still did really good. You maintain a good point standing, but what happened to you on pit road, man? I mean, it looked like your stop was 2 seconds slower than Brandon McGrew's there when you went to come into your pit stall. What happened there for you?
Honestly, I have no idea. I refueled. I may have just been the amount of gas I put in it, because I finished with about 2 laps extra of gas. So that could have been what it was, and I'll have to go through and kind of look at it. But, you know, end of the day, coming out in third place with those 2 fast dudes up there is not really a problem, but I definitely need to look at my pit stops, and I still need to figure out my starts.
Yeah, and just, I mean, I talked about it with Sebastian a little, but what was it like? I mean, you're starting P2, think you have a good shot going in a turn 1 behind Randall, and all of a sudden, Rob Schwenkler shoots in out of nowhere. So what was that like from the cockpit?
Yeah, I've been kind of poking and prodding at these guys to figure out how they're getting these standing starts, and nobody wants to seem to give me the special juice or the special sauce. So I have no idea what exactly they've got. I think they've got nitrous. We're gonna have to talk to iRacing. They may have put something in there that I don't know about. Maybe just a little bit of nitrous boost off the start. But yeah, I got to figure that out, man. But yeah, other than that, I think it was a pretty good race. And
before we let you go here and round out the broadcast, anybody you want to give a shout out to at the end of the day here?
First of all, man, you, Alex, Jonathan, Tim, every week for covering and helping us out over here at SMB. Even though Tim's British, he'll have to do for now until I find somebody better. And after that, I do have a list of people I think are watching this race right now. I'm gonna try to get them all. My fiance Sarah, her cousin, right, babe? Your cousin? Yeah, her cousin Cassie, my future in-laws Mike and Teresa, and I believe my uncle Drew is probably watching it as well. And I got a few friends that may be watching it. So thanks guys for watching and tuning in. And yeah, it's helping my broadcast company big time, which is really what I'm looking for. So thank everybody. I want to thank everybody involved in this. So thank you.
Well, looks like that's going to be all I have for you here tonight, unless Tim has something that will be the last we hear from you up here in the booth tonight. So thanks for racing, thanks for showing up, and we'll see you next time, Adam.
All right, thanks guys. Have a good night.
Wow, what a race here today. And well, they've done it again. Tight finishes. Once again in this championship, it all came down to the line. That battle for the victory, 8 thousandths of a second. A blink of an eye, that's 3/10. Gives you some sort of idea of just how close it was here today in round 4 of the XSLR Championship at Laguna Seca. And as we close out on not just the broadcast for today, but the road section of the championship, this is where it gets a bit interesting. I've seen Bobby Ross across there in the chat. He's looking forward to the next section of the championship. It'd be great to see yourself, Bobby, out on track. It's the dirt ovals, and we'll see you in a week's time from Bristol in the 410 wing. I've been Tim Cox with Alex Andersen and John from Grabowski. And don't forget to join us then. Good night.